Welcome back. Season 4.
Oh my gosh. Hello.
Can you believe it? Hello. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Amy. And this
And this
is
is
Girls Gone Spooky.
Ooh.
So Olivia, what have you been up to?
Just bopping around, reading lots of Sarah J. Maas and other fantasy, sometimes smutty, not always smutty authors. Spending a lot of time in California, vibing, you know?
Yeah, I love it. It's a good
What
summer.
have you been up to, Amy?
I have been buying a house.
Yeah, you've been buying a house.
Yes, I have been training to be a doula. So I can not deliver. I shouldn't say that. I'll deliver your babies. I'll be there to deliver babies, support people.
Babies.
Or as Dave says, I'm training to become a witch because he finds it very witchy for whatever reason.
Extremely. I agree. So, it is extremely witchy.
Yeah, so I'm becoming more witchy every day.
Yeah. Witchier and witchier as the days pass.
I love it.
Hell yeah. One thing I didn't tell you before we hit record, I am reading Kingdom of Ash finally in Throne of Glass. Are you on the last one? You're not there yet?
I have not been reading any of those fun books lately because we have so much reading for school.
Oh my god, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Holy crap. Okay, well, I say nothing, but it's very good. Very, very good. Very, very, very good.
It's the very last one, isn't it?
It's the very last one. And it is long. It's so long. So I read it like the e-reader version, and usually they're like, I don't know, like it'll say like 1,000 or like 1,100 pages. This one is 1,500 pages, and I'm like,
great.
A little long.
Yeah. She had a lot to say with that one.
She had a lot to say, but I'm happy because there's a lot of content, and I need a lot of content for this last one.
Yeah. Good.
Yes, that's been great. And then I'm waiting on the last book in the Jennifer Armentrout one, the Blood and Ash.
Yeah.
So. Anywho, this is my quick little book update. I can hardly even believe that it's August. It's not really August right now, but we're almost there.
I can't either. What a fast summer it was.
Imagine if we recorded these episodes the day they were dropping. We woke up at 8 a.m., recorded, I posted them at 10 a.m. I'm like, it's August 2nd. Hey, happy Friday.
You know, we could challenge ourselves.
Extremely impressive. Okay, so we have so many topics for this season.
Yes.
We're not going to get through them all this season.
No.
But we thought we'd kick off with a fun little like summary vibe and do haunted, spooky amusement. So next time you're heading to Six Flags, think about and I have to just I came across something very funny that was originally on Tumblr that says this really made me it looks like a tweet. Like it's no content, but it says, I love watching documentaries about amusement park accidents because all of the park officials are saying, oh dear God, none of us could have anticipated that the roller coaster car would detach. This is a freak accident, an act of God. And then the narrator is like, the Dick Twister 9000 was a known safety hazard and rabies vector since its inception. It was designed by disgraced Cirque du Soleil clown John Roosters, who had never seen a math textbook.
Yeah.
so clever. I had
That
to just
is.
get off with that. Um, but should we jump right in?
Yes, I think
Because
so.
I think you, unless you've departed from this idea, I think you focused on one park specifically, and I
Yeah,
did a
pretty much.
bunch. So
Hmm.
maybe I'll do a couple, and then you go, and then I can do my two, like, not main ones, but like more recognizable ones.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
good.
So honorable mentions. Um, there's a place in Japan that was called, it's been demolished now, Gulliver's Kingdom theme park, and was in Japan beneath Mount Fuji. And there are a lot of things beneath Mount Fuji, one of which being uh Aokigahara Forest, which you all may remember. Um, and yeah, so that is right next door, which is really eerie and a weird
Yeah.
choice. What is
Yeah.
also right next door is also, for anyone who's like, I don't remember what that is, it is the Unaliving Yourself Forest, is the nickname. I'm
Hmm.
not going to say the S word, but that is what it is also known as. Um, it's also beside a village called Kamikuishiki, which is notorious for being the location of the Aum Shinrikyo Doomsday Cult headquarters and nerve gas production facility. This was a
Whoa.
death cult that had um, like I read through their whole Wikipedia page. It is like bonkers, but they like killed a bunch of people with like nerve gas, with sarin, and I think
Mm.
some other like gas attacks. Killed 19
Wow.
people, including 12 on the Tokyo subway. And then on March 22nd, 1995, the cult's compound was stormed by over 1,000 police officers decked out in full face gas masks. 3 years later, so 98, which is 1 year after the Gulliver's Kingdom theme park opened, residents living nearby were still being reminded of Alp Shinrikyo's monstrous crimes. There's a quote: "I can still smell the chemicals sometimes when I take a walk in the morning," said 69-year-old Nori Okamoto, who lives just 100 meters or 330 feet from one of the cult's former sarin production facilities.
Oh
Like,
God.
smell the chemicals, and they opened this place right there. I just
Yeah.
don't understand that.
Yeah.
There are some allusions to people having had like weird experiences at the park. There's nothing that's like, not that I only share things or like that are like repudiated, to be honest, on here, but
Uh-huh.
all of them felt like short and kind of like a stretch to me.
Yeah.
However, proximity to that much like death and like negative energy, there's just
Hmm.
no way that was good. Um,
Yeah.
Okay, and then one more honorable mention, and then I'll get into my actual stories. Have you
Yeah.
ever heard of like a character? It's from the UK, but it's called Dunblobin.
No, I haven't, but I love that name.
I know, but creepy. Um, there was this children's show, which I guess like there were multiple theme parks, and they operated in the 90s. So maybe it was probably popular like 70s to 90s would be my guess. And it was this character from a show called Noel's House Party, hosted by Noel Edmonds, who I guess is some like, big like talk show host kind of person at the time, but I think specifically for kids. And it was based on the theme park was made on this fictional village called Crinkly Bottom, which is very, and this character who's, I guess his name is Dunblobin, but everyone just calls him Blobby.
Okay.
I'm like nervous to look up clips about it. He is the creepiest looking motherfucker I've ever seen. He's like,
Really?
okay, remember those toys that were like blue with like white and black eyes and like red ears, and you'd squeeze them and all their like
Oh,
face pieces
yeah,
would
yeah.
pop? It
Uh-huh.
looks like that, but pink. It's
Okay. Yeah.
extremely creepy. I will post a photo as like a swipe to see on our Instagram when we, and
Yep.
on TikTok too, when we post this, but it's very creepy looking. And basically the whole,
Okay.
like all of these that I read, like of the non very famous theme parks that I read, like they closed because they just didn't attract enough people.
Mm-hmm.
There was like it's creepy. Like abandoned things are creepy for sure, but like someone had gone in and spray painted like blobby touched me here and like
Ew.
weird stuff. Like yeah, like weird graffiti written on the
Yeah.
walls. I don't know if that's just like vandals coming in and like being creepy, like being
Mm-hmm.
spooky. I don't know. It gave me a
Weird.
weird. So I'm not going into that in detail. But yeah, blobby or done blobbin, not favorite children's character.
Yeah. It
Um,
doesn't sound appealing. They're,
no, not
yeah,
at all. But then again, like neither is Barney as an adult, and the kids
true.
love. I
Yeah.
also did we ever talk about Big Rock Candy Mountain?
No,
You
I
watch
don't think
that?
so. No.
Oh, okay. So I used to watch this show called Big Rock Candy Mountain. I will find a clip of it for you. But it was,
Okay.
I think, like not a mainstream kids movie, but I
Yeah.
was obsessed with it. And then years later was like, my brother years later was like, um, that uh that show is really creepy and you
Mm-hmm.
loved it and I never understood why you loved it. It really creeped me out. But it's basically these like furries, like literally adults like dressed in furries costumes
Okay.
that are like imaginary friends, but then they go
Mm.
down this slide with them, the kids do, and then they're
Yeah.
in Big Rock Candy Mountain. And it's just really satisfying because it's almost like you enter into Candyland. So there are like
Okay.
trees that have like uh, it's just very satisfying. But I will send you a little clip of it. It's very weird. I
Okay.
loved it as a kid. Little my psyche. If any
Yeah.
of you guys listening have watched Big Rock Candy Mountain, please DM us because I am dying for my fellow
Someone.
friends, you know? No, I'm um but just a weird
Okay.
thing of mine.
Yeah, I'm
Um
looking it up right now. It looks
is it coming up?
actually, it's, oh yeah, there's one image of it that I can
Okay.
see. The others are like, there's a song called Big
Yes.
Rock Candy
Big Rock
Mountain.
Candy Mountain. Yeah, it's like there's a whole song and there yeah,
Oh my
it's
god. Yeah, you need to post one of these pictures.
okay, I will. Oh my god. Yeah,
They're
jump scare for
funny.
everyone.
Yeah.
Blobby and yeah, Big Rock Candy Mountain. I don't even remember the characters' names. Um, but I'll make a note for myself.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so on to my main events here. So the
Yes.
first one is from Reddit, and this is Tasty Guitar 9565. And they say, the title is I encountered paranormal activity when I was 6. And then it says part one. I didn't go into the other parts because they were not amusement park related, but no, just all for later.
Inspiration.
Um,
Yes.
and so, exactly. So they say the story may sound odd, but I promise it's real and it's been haunting me for 15 years. I was born and raised in a Southeast Asian country, and one day in the summer of 2009, my parents decided to take me to a water park. One thing you should know is that there were not many water parks in my country in 2009, so we had to travel a very long distance to the biggest city near us. If my memory is correct, my first impression of the water park was that it's sort of eerie and kind of dark seeming somehow, but I was also excited to be there, and so I didn't think too much about it. Fast forward to the point where weird things start happening. So we went to a pool and I vividly remember that the pool was really large and filled with not a lot of people. And my parents were sort of sitting on the beach while I was playing in the pool. And from their place, they could see me very clearly because I was literally right in front of them. And while I was playing, they say a young lady, but like a girl around 14 or 15 came by and decided to stick around and play with me. She was very friendly, and I could tell through the way that she talked and smiled that, she was just like a nice person. And all of a sudden, someone grabbed me by my arm from behind and whipped me around. And it was my mom, and she was in a complete panic, like really, really panicked. She said I had been missing for 20 minutes.
Whoa.
But I swear on my life, it had only been a minute or two since I had stepped down the pool and met the girl. And when I looked back, the girl was nowhere to be seen, not even a trace of her. And I told my mom, I explained, but she was too panicked and kind of upset to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, of course, like in the comments, people were like, oh, they probably just were distracted and then like lost you in the crowd. And they were like, no, like there weren't a lot of people in the pool. I was right there. I didn't move. Like I didn't go somewhere else with her. I was right there. And it was like
Right.
this weird, like time warp kind of thing. And he said, like, or they said, it's like as if that the way they said it, they were panicked, shocked, and desperately looking for me for 20 minutes straight. When they found me, I had never left the same spot that they'd put me in. And it was like I had never moved, but something had covered their eyes or hid me from them. And that creeped me out because that actually would make sense. Because if they're sitting there, this girl approaches, somehow sort of veils the kid from them, then they wouldn't, then you look back and they're gone. You don't see them walking off with someone. It's like they're just gone from there. So anyway, I thought that was like a creepy, a nice little amuse-bouche.
Yeah. It really is. That is creepy. The time warp thing is always bizarre.
And wasn't there another one at a water park that we talked about where the kid was found like way too far away from where they were lost? Do you remember this?
Possibly.
A water slide. There was like a water slide and they got like yeeted through like a wormhole. It's so weird.
I don't fully remember that, but maybe it was in our haunted water episode. Our favorite one to reference.
So funny, haunted water. Oh no.
Haunted water. Wait.
Haunted water.
Okay,
so
you're back too.
You're back.
I need a new computer. Oh my god. I swear it's my computer. I can't update the software anymore because it's so old.
Oh god, it's too old.
It's
Yikes.
It's time.
It's time. It is time. I agree. I concur. Okay. Very weird haunted water. It's giving wormhole. Okay. This next one is from Misty Nero. So they say, although I've had several paranormal experiences in my life, I am still a skeptic. I try to debunk my own experience, asking what if I was just tired? There must be a logical explanation. However, this experience really did make me a believer. A few years ago, I visited my friend who lives abroad. Okay, so I'm just going to stop myself here for a second. A little irked that they don't say the country or the name of the park. So others, like in the thread, ask at the bottom, but it was like years later. So I think they just never went. Now it's so I can't ask. But anyway, just keep that in mind. Okay, a few years ago, I visited my friend who lives abroad. We decided to go inside an old amusement park that had been abandoned years ago. First of all, why? As a kid, my friend visited the place every week, so it was pure nostalgia for her. I feel like no better way to ruin your childhood memories, but it's fine. We snuck through a hole in the fence and entered the park. The place was taken back by nature, mostly overgrown and with small swampy puddles everywhere. We were definitely nervous about snakes hiding in the grass and about the big pack of feral dogs that we knew to be roaming the property, but the paranormal definitely did not cross our minds. Upon entering the park, the dogs bark at us, warning us to leave them alone, so we avoid the area where they are and go explore. We seem to be the only people there. After a good 30 minutes of walking around exploring, we stumble upon an empty karaoke bar. The place feels off somehow, not like the other buildings that we'd encountered. My friend explains that this building is not what it seems. Karaoke bars in her country are often a cover for alcohol consumption, which was illegal back then, and also prostitution, so kind of like a front. She doesn't recognize the place, though, which is weird since she spent a big part of her childhood at the park. We figured that it must have been a bit hidden away from the crowd since it was likely linked to illegal activity. However, the moment we entered the building, my attention is immediately drawn towards a creepy door with a broken glass panel. You could see that there was nothing on the other side, but somehow the darkness behind the door seemed more solid. I stared at it for at least a good 15 seconds before I told myself to stop freaking out about a stupid door. While we explore the first floor, I hear footsteps right behind me. Thinking it was just my friend, I turn around, ready to make a stupid joke about her creeping up on me, but she's not there. I then see her at the other end of the room, at least 8 meters away from me. I chalk it up to weird acoustics and don't tell her about it. And then they say, you know that feeling you get when people are watching you? Well, that's how the second floor feels. It was as if we walked into a crowded room, except no one was there. Like on the first floor, the darkness of some unlit areas somehow seemed too dark, more solid almost. I became increasingly nervous, but I don't tell my friends since I don't want to sound crazy. So soon my friend stops in her tracks and said that she's not comfortable exploring any further. She later described that room as a black hole. She recalls feeling as if all of her movements were slower than usual and her brain felt foggy. And this was right above the door that had freaked me out so much. Back on the first floor, we feel a little silly for being nervous and try to overcome our fears. I decide to open a door adjacent to the creepy door, which was easier said than done. The door was stuck, and I had to really put my weight behind it to get it to open. We saw a glimpse of a small storage room before the door slammed shut again. We almost made a run for it, but since we stubbornly didn't want to give in to our fears and, quote, be pussies, we took a few more pictures of the room before we left. Once outside, we rationalized it by saying it must have been some sort of animal, stray dog or something, but we were not convinced. Opening the door took a lot of strength, so what animal could have closed it with so much force, especially one that doesn't have like opposable thumbs?
Right. Yeah.
And there was barely any space between the open door and the wall, so I really doubt there was a person just hiding there. We talked for a bit to lighten the mood and felt braver now that we were outside again. We decided to visit her favorite attraction next, the pirate ship. In the past, it would swing back and forth, but now we couldn't get it to move no matter how much we tried. We both pushed against it with our full body weight, but the ship wouldn't budge. We took a few photos while we were chatting about my friend's memories of the park, and all of a sudden, the pirate ship begins to move. Slowly at first, so slow that I thought I imagined it, but then it starts to swing more clearly. Since we don't feel the creepy vibes that we felt at the karaoke bar, we decide to just stay and watch. After a few minutes, my friend remarks that we should head back soon since she wouldn't want to be in this place after dark. Immediately after those words left her mouth, it gets darker, as if it was suddenly light. Like, that's a no for me. So, remember the dogs who barked when we entered the park? They had been quiet since they realized we weren't a threat, but now they go wild, barking, howling in the distance. My friend and I don't hesitate. We make a run for it. We run through the dark, overgrown park while the dogs go crazy. It was absolutely surreal. And once we reach the hole in the fence, we crawl out as fast as we can, and suddenly we feel safe. I swear to God, once outside, the sun was shining brightly again. We looked up just to see if it was a well-timed cloud that moved in front of the sun, but there was not a cloud in the sky. To this day, my friend is convinced that something was telling us to leave, since it got dark right after we decided to go home once it was getting dark. I don't necessarily believe in these kind of theories, but feelings-wise, it genuinely felt as if we went through some sort of gateway when we entered the park, as if it was its own little world. The contrast was just that big. Back home, we talked about our experiences. Apparently, we both felt uneasy in the karaoke bar long before we actually voiced those feelings. I told her about the creepy vibe I got from the door and showed her a picture that I took of it when we first entered the building. She told me she felt the same exact thing and took a picture just before we left. Upon comparison, Upon comparison, we realized that the door is cracked open a little bit in my photo, but in hers, it's halfway open.
Ew, no. I hate that. No.
Yeah. She says these photos were taken 5 minutes apart, and it seems very unlikely that someone snuck in to open it while we were on the second floor. The dog pack was in a different area of the park, and there was no wind that day. I don't have an explanation, but given our other experiences, this creeped me out even more. Like I said, I've experienced strange things before, but nothing like this. In the hour we spent at the park, I went from a skeptic to a believer. I'd love to go back someday and see what happens.
Oh, really?
Why? They don't want to
Yeah.
there. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, that's not smart.
So then someone commented and was like, your friend mentioned that karaoke bars were places for alcohol consumption because it was illegal back in the day. My understanding is a lot sketchier things than alcohol consumption go on in those karaoke bars, potentially maybe a reason why the park got shut down in the first place. And then the original poster said, damn, I just Googled the place, and apparently there are rumors about fights and even a death or maybe murder at the park.
Whoa.
So,
okay.
I don't know. There were others, like there was another comment that they found, I guess, that was saying like they were just noise complaints, but I don't know. It's just creepy.
Very. And this is the one that they didn't include where it was, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. That's so annoying.
So, and not even like the country.
Right. Ooh,
which
I want to know.
It's like, I know. Okay, so I have a suspicion that it's China, just because I have a friend who's from China, and he had shared that, karaoke bars, or I guess it could be kind of a lot of places in Asia, but that karaoke bars specifically are like for prostitution.
Okay.
Like even today, like corporate men will like go and like drink cigars and get drunk and like hire prostitutes, which is not the best thing. But I guess, oh well, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. But I suspect it's somewhere in Asia, but I don't know. It's creepy though. The door slamming and the pirate ship are creepy, but then after the fact, realizing, oh, we took these photos 5 minutes apart and the doors weren't open. That's a big ol' no. That's a no.
No. Photo evidence, just yikes. I hate it.
Yeah, big yikes.
But I love it.
But I really love it. Okay, I'm going to pause there and pass it over to you for really the world's best amusement park. My opinion.
You think so?
I love the place.
Yeah. Okay. I have never been, so maybe this is filling a void for me or something.
Or we could go, just a thought.
Yeah, that'd be fun. When you move back, that'll be on our list.
Claim.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Disneyland. And I also have like one thing that I think is about Disney World, but we're gonna combine them. So in my notes, it didn't copy over. I am a disaster today. So I am going straight to we are going to the website to find my stories.
Yes. Okay.
So this is from Haunted Orange County is the website, and it's all about haunted Disneyland stories from people who worked there, or cast members, they call them. Yeah. So
they are cast members, Amy.
Yes. Okay, sorry. I shouldn't judge.
My cousin was a cast member there for a little bit.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Doing what?
She was one of the 7 dwarfs.
Oh, how cute.
Sleepy,
dopey.
I can't remember which one she was. She might have been Sleepy.
That's so cute. I love it. Okay. So cast members. There are 2 websites that I found like pretty much dedicated to this same thing. So actually, let's start with a list form and then we'll do the stories, because one of them is the cast members have listed the parts of the park that they think are the most haunted, or have had the most weird things going on with them. And it says, surprisingly, none of them are Haunted Mansion. So
Oh, that's
it's,
funny.
yeah, like where you would most expect, totally fine.
Yeah.
But
And I
one
think,
where I would not. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I think like there have been, well, actually, I'm not gonna say this because you may bring it up. So actually, never mind. Zipping it.
Okay. Okay. I have a feeling I know where you were going with that, and I
Yeah.
wasn't really going to bring it up, but
I'll bring it up at the
yeah,
end if you want to touch on
there's,
it.
okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is different, but there have been a lot of accidents at Disneyland
Oh,
and any amusement park, really. None of it is paranormal, but who
right.
knows if that's not who is haunting it now, is the people
Oh, that's so creepy.
who died there. Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah. And I did read something that was a little like icky, that they have a policy that you can't declare somebody dead in Disneyland. So, like, even if
No.
somebody dies from a heart attack or something, you have to be, they are declared dead outside of the park for like the PR of it all, I
Oh my
guess.
God. How's that even legal?
Yeah, it seems strange. And maybe that
And
was a
like,
disgruntled
you
cast
you
member.
didn't die here. You didn't
Right.
die here, but I did die there. No, you didn't. No,
No,
you didn't.
no. Yeah.
You're wrong.
We don't believe you. Yep.
We don't believe you,
So,
ghost. Well,
yeah,
we believe you, ghost.
we always will. But
Yeah.
yes. So let's see. The first haunted location is Toontown, which I
Mm,
feel like maybe you wouldn't expect that. Um,
no.
and it's specifically in the basement of Mickey's house in Toontown.
Fuck that.
Yeah, like this person said, I've personally seen trash cans move when I'm the only one there. I've seen reflections
Ooh.
of figures in the mirror over my shoulder, and some cast members have said they hear voices down there. So, um, yeah, it says, while this may seem surprising to some guests because this is the most cheerful part of the park, another commenter said, man, demons would hang out in Toontown, lol. So I don't know why they think that, but
Mm,
yeah.
I don't
I,
know. It's what's striking to me about it is it's really like the very kiddie part of the park, which, like, to
mm-hmm.
that person's point, okay, yeah, demons would hang out in Toontown.
Yeah, that's true.
Sneaky
That's a good
Pickens.
point. Yeah.
Let's
That's a
go
good
dark.
point. Yeah,
Jesus.
yikes. But Toontown. Um, let's see. The next one on their list is California Adventure.
Mm.
And it's that was only founded in 2001, so it's not very old, but there's one particular locker room in that area that they say there's a ghost living in there, that appears as like a full specter of a
Whoa.
girl. So, and people always see the same person. So,
Oh, what?
yikes. Yeah.
Do you have any idea of like who it is? Like someone who died at the park?
This doesn't say anything about
Yeah.
that, but yeah,
Weird.
people see the same. It's a little girl that likes to play around there. So creepy. And then the
Weird.
third one, which I have more stories about, is Splash Mountain and near
Mm.
Splash Mountain.
Okay.
Um,
Which
and
is gone now.
oh, is it
They just,
really?
yeah, they just got rid of
Oh,
it.
oh wow. I wonder
Because
why.
well, it's not because of the haunting, although that could have been a separate,
Mm-hmm.
like positive thing.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it I can't remember the name of the cartoon for the life of me, it's based on a cartoon, and it's like extremely racist caricatures in the cartoon. And
Oh,
so they were like, yeah, we're gonna get rid of this now. But it's
was it?
recent. It was like 2023 or something that I think they started doing demo.
Oh, wow. Was it?
Yeah.
Because this article talks about Tiana from Princess and the Frog. Is that the one that
Mm,
was? Okay.
no,
Apparently, there
it's
was
old.
Tiana's
I
Bayou
think kind
Adventure.
of.
Okay.
There was that. They're remaking it into something else. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be dumb to not like
Strange.
reuse structure.
But
Let
near
me see if I can
Splash
find.
Mountain. Oh, wait. Hang on. God.
Uh oh
Okay. You're back.
oh.
Were you
Okay, no.
talking?
It was called, yeah. It was, the cartoon was called Song of the South.
Okay.
And it's like, as you can imagine, like
Mm-hmm.
Southern characters, and there
Yes.
were a lot of like Black caricatures that were not very flattering.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's gone. Um, I wonder if, oh, it looks like maybe, oh, the Tiana one is what they're making it into, it sounds like,
Okay. Okay. That makes
which
sense.
would be smart because I mean it'd be stupid to get rid of a water ride. It's the only one well,
Right.
there are two, I guess. But this is the like
Yeah.
main one at the park.
Yeah. Well, that's Disney has a lot of growing to do still and
Yes,
always. That's for sure.
for sure. That's for sure.
But yeah, so Splash Mountain, this was saying that just like people who are doing maintenance there, their tools and stuff are always going missing and they hear
Oh,
like things being dropped and whatever. So it's just a little
weird.
spooky place. And then I found these other stories that it's like I think it's called Star Trader or one of the stores or something. And it
Okay. Oh
shares
yeah.
a wall somewhere with the back of Splash Mountain. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, actually, I think there were 4 on this one little forum that wrote about the stock room of the Star Trader. And
Oh God.
it, like, this person said, cast members avoid going there alone and feel like they're being pushed down the stairs. There's,
Oh,
yeah, so creepy. Yeah, and again, this says the 4th floor of Star Trader is indeed creepy. Even before I was told it was haunted, I always felt uneasy up there. And in the early 90s, when they worked there, a cast member named Maria came flying down the stairs after the sock boxes started to pull out by themselves.
no.
So,
Ooh, that gives me chills.
yeah.
Like I feel like
Um,
being in any like back room, storeroom like that, like it's creepy if you're in your own like house. But
mhm.
then, like even like the back of the house when it's dark and like you're like, oh, I'm alone back here, creepy.
Yeah,
But in a place that's like sees so much traffic, like
yeah.
even more than like a department store would, but department
Mhm.
stores would be so creepy in the back
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
And then
I
yeah,
can't
a place with so
imagine.
much traffic where there are people everywhere but no one with you. Ugh.
Mhm. Yeah. Creepy.
And something
Yeah.
that has like physical ability to like shove you or pull boxes or something.
Right.
Ew, don't
Yeah.
like that at
No.
all. I don't like that at
It's
all.
too bold. It's very bold.
No. Yeah, it's very
But
bold. Don't like it.
yeah, cuz I remember when I was having my like ghost experiences in my house growing up.
Hmm.
We had our friend who does all the energy work and stuff come in to see if she
Yeah.
could feel anything or tell what was
Yeah.
happening. And she said, I would suggest like clearing out some stuff, like make it
Yeah.
less cluttered and full,
Yeah.
because for whatever reason that makes more ghosty
Yeah.
possibilities, I guess.
Well, it
And
traps energy and probably
yeah,
like if there's something, any kind of residual energy attached to any of your stuff,
yeah,
good or bad, like you wouldn't
hmm,
want to have that at all.
yeah, that's
So
true. Yeah.
hate that
So
though.
just imagining like a stock room that has so much stuff in it. That
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yikes. So,
Spooky Splash Mountain. Okay.
yeah,
R.I.P. Splash Mountain. Except not
I
really,
know.
because you were racist.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Splash Mountain.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. But let's see. Then I have one, a little bit longer one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Toontown one. So this is submitted by Mike A. And he says, I worked custodial from 2002 to 2004 and had some bizarre things happen to me. One night in New Orleans, I was emptying the trash from the exit of Haunted Mansion. I came the back way down the employee stairs and saw an elderly woman in an antique looking wheelchair sitting in the hallway.
Whoa.
I thought nothing of it at first and opened the door to where the trash can was. As I held the door open with my foot tying the trash bag, I thought to myself, what was that guest doing in an employee-only hallway? The park had been closed for a while. When I turned back into the hallway, not even 5 seconds later, the lady was gone. He says, I was creeped out, but shrugged it off and went about my business. As the night went on, I could not stop thinking about that woman in the wheelchair. And it wasn't one of the rental wheelchairs. This one looked like it was made of wood. I finished my shift and eventually forgot about it. I used to hear tons of stories from coworkers about certain areas being haunted, so I would always wander around the park exploring. Disney is creepy when it's empty, so I can see why people would have stories of being watched or have strange feelings. I remember sweeping the line for Roger Rabbit, I don't know what that means, one night, and out of the corner of my eye I saw a man standing near me in a navy blue t-shirt and black Dickies-style shorts. I asked if he needed anything, and when I looked up, he was gone. I walked pretty fast, yeah, all the way through the line looking for him, and nobody was in there. Nobody was in there because Toontown was closed. It seems like everyone had a haunted bathroom, Tom Sawyer, or Toontown story, so I kept the strange things that happened to me to myself. I felt like nobody would believe me anyway. But a few months later, I was talking with a woman that had worked at Disney for a long time. Someone had committed suicide in the parking structure that summer, so we were talking about deaths in the park and the possibilities of the supernatural. She told me a story about sweeping inside the haunted mansion at the bottom of the elevators after the park closed and seeing an elderly woman in a wheelchair.
Oh my God.
When she looked up to speak to her, the room was empty. I thought to myself, no way, how familiar. I didn't tell her what happened to me, but I had a lump in my throat and felt pretty creeped out for a long time. So,
Wow. That's wild that they like didn't share it with
yeah.
anyone and the story came back to them anyway.
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine not telling somebody about my ghost story. But
There's
yeah, no way. But I just have one last one, and this is the one that was from Disney World instead of Disneyland. And this was on somebody's website, which is called Dr. Disney. So they wrote, you may know all there is to know about the famed Disney attraction. And he's talking about Pirates of the Caribbean.
oh, such a good one.
But do you know George? And
oh, I hate that. I already don't like that.
I know, yeah,
chills.
George.
Okay.
But also, we've had this discussion before. Pirates of the Caribbean is how they said it in the ads, and now I can't stop saying it. But I normally say Caribbean.
Yes.
So let's just make that
I was
clear.
talking to a friend of mine who's from Guyana, and he was like, which I mean, I think is considered to be the Caribbean. He was like, yeah. I was like, how do you pronounce the islands where you are from? And he was like, Caribbean. And I was like, and how do you say the movie Pirates of the, and he goes, Caribbean. And I was like, and he went, oh. Like, I've never noticed that before. Why do we say it like that? I was
interesting.
like, I don't know.
Yeah. Where did that come from? I
It
don't know
must
why they
be
say
the ads. It must be
yeah.
how they. I'm just making sure that Guyana is in the Caribbean.
Yeah,
The
it's on
Caribbean.
the.
Now it's fucking me up.
I'm pretty sure it's on the continent of South America, but
Yes,
it's
it
yeah,
is. Okay,
it's
yes, it is
yeah,
part of the Caribbean. Yeah, it
Caribbean.
says, in fact, Guyana is considered a Caribbean country, even though it is not an island nation located in the Caribbean Sea, as are most Caribbean nations.
Interesting.
Anyway, sorry,
Wow, we're
George.
just
Hit
we're
me.
full of information.
We're full
Geography
of
lesson.
information. I'm gonna fact check myself live this season, so my dad doesn't have ammo for roast me.
Yeah, good idea. We are always improving.
Yeah, we're learning. We're getting better. Like,
Yes,
what's not to like?
exactly. Okay, so George.
George.
As the story, yeah, as the story goes, George is said to be the ghost of a Disney Imagineer, aka cast member, who died in the early 70s while working on a piece in the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction so it could open in the Magic Kingdom.
Magic King.
This sad story has changed a bit over the years, but that is the general gist of it. Some say that he was crushed. Other versions of the story say he fell from the top of the attraction's burning city in one of the final big scenes. It varies.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That would be a really dramatic and tragic death.
Yes, it would. Especially in like on a set of a burning city.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
crazy.
Like, really? This is how I'm gonna go out?
Yeah. I guess it's got flair. That's
Yeah, it's got a lot of flair.
got a lot of flair.
Got a lot of flair. Like a little
Yeah.
too much flair,
Yeah,
I'd say.
like literally flares.
Literally flames
Yeah.
from flames.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
So it varies. From this point on, cast members have said to have seen a ghostly apparition on ride monitors in Pirates of the Caribbean, but nothing ever in real life. They've also heard mysterious footsteps or phone calls from the control room when no one is in there. And cast members also make sure to do something every single day. Every morning, someone tells George, "Good morning," and in the evening, someone tells George, "Good night," over the PA system.
Oh,
Seems,
what?
yeah. And they said, "Seems rather silly, huh?" Well, there are reasons for those actions. It is said that if George is not told good morning, the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction will have issues throughout the day with breakdowns and more. If George isn't wished a good night, the attraction has been known to come on overnight and certain parts be running the next morning.
Ew, what?
Yeah, he just wants to be acknowledged. Yeah.
Oh my God, but also stop being creepy.
Yeah, it's enough. He's not a vindictive or mean ghost. George just wants people to recognize that he's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, fine. Fair.
Yeah.
Acknowledge me.
Yeah. He just wants attention.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It says cast members at the Pirates of the Caribbean aren't the only ones that can be affected or visited by George. It's been said before that guests complaining about the attraction or making fun of it or looking for it to be over quicker, well, they've often been the victim of a breakdown while riding it.
Oh my God.
Appearances, yeah.
Petty George.
Appearances or experiences with George have been said to have been felt or seen all throughout Pirates of the Caribbean. There is one spot in particular, though, where George is said to hang out more than others, and it is indeed in the final big room with the burning city. He is said to often make guests feel his presence or a chill when they are next to Pirate Pig and almost underneath the drunken pirate with the hairy leg. So that's his spot, I guess.
Oh
But
my God.
another interesting thing I found in the course of this research is that with Pirates of the Caribbean, when they originally built the attraction in 1967, they used um, real human bones rather
Oh,
than
yeah. I
models.
think I read something about that. And then they
Yeah,
were like, yeah, you need to not do that. And they were
yeah.
like, oh, okay, we'll use
Hey,
animatronics then.
right. Why did they do that in the first place, though? Like, you could get
So
a fake
I know.
skeleton.
It very easily. I know. Um, I guess they wanted it to look authentic. I don't know. That's just like too committed to the bit for me.
Yeah,
But
it's too
what I was gonna
far.
say at the yeah, way too far. What I was gonna say at the beginning is there are also a lot of, I don't know if they're rumors. I mean, it's probably not rumors. People probably do this, but like people have been known to sneak like cremated remains of family members into the park to scatter them at the park. And like it's like
Oh,
prohibited, like
yeah,
strictly prohibited.
yeah.
People do it anyway. And I have read, I don't this I think a lot of this is like could be speculation, I don't know, but they say the two most common places are Haunted Mansion, somewhere in the ride, like maybe even leaving cremated remains like in their container somewhere in the ride,
Oh,
or
why?
sprinkling them in the water at Pirates of the
Hmm.
Caribbean, because it's like a
Interesting.
boat. It's like on tracks, but you get in these little boats, and then it has like
Yeah.
3 drops, and it's like a little one, and then a big one at the end. It's very fun, but there
Yeah.
are portions where you're still on a track. You can't see it, but like it's dragging you along through this open area, and there's like the nice, quote unquote, like nice restaurant, super expensive at Disney. I think it's called the Blue Bayou, but you see the restaurant, so like the restaurant overlooks the ride if they're sitting out on this like patio area, so it's like as if you're actually like in the scene, but it's real
Yeah.
people eating dinner or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
um
That's
that's what I was
cool.
going to say before, just that like people who die at the park for sure, but then also people who's like wanted their eternal resting place to be
Yeah.
Disneyland, which
Disney.
is just
Yeah.
like, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm a Disney adult, but I do love Disneyland. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
Disney merch, but
Mm-hmm.
I love going. I think it's so fun and nostalgic. I love it, especially
Yeah.
at Halloween time because they decorate the whole park and it's so cute, like so
Yeah.
freaking cute. I
It's
love it.
just
I love
fun.
it.
Yeah. It has spirit. That's
That's
somehow I have
and
ended up.
spirits.
Yes, spirit and spirits.
Yeah.
I have ended up on Instagram, the side of Instagram that has Disney adults. I
Yeah.
really don't know why, but it's like
Yeah.
these people who are, what do they call it? Well, it's park hopping, but they have a name for it and I'm blanking on it. But it's like
Oh.
these this couple in particular that wear the most Disney outfits
Oh.
like
Hmm.
ever.
The ears and the whole
Yeah.
thing.
And also
And they
just,
match.
yeah, match and dress up as characters. Like,
Oh.
yeah,
Mhm. Look,
it's a bit much.
it, it would be really easy for me to judge. If that brings you
Right.
joy and you're not hurting
Yeah,
anyone,
who
how about
cares?
it? Is it
Yeah.
for me? No.
No.
But go for it, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
why not? Why not?
Yeah. Live your life.
Um, live your Disney loving life, truly.
Hmm.
Um, do you have any more additions for Disney, or are we wrapping it up?
I am wrapping it up. There is more that you sent me that I haven't had a
Oh,
chance
yes,
to
yes, yes.
read.
You know
So,
what? I did read through it afterwards, and it
okay.
was like little quick things, and I think you covered actually all of it anyway.
Okay, good.
Um,
Perfect.
well, I have two more
Yeah.
relatively quick ones.
Okay.
So one you should be familiar with because it is kind of near where we went to university, and it is Knott's Berry Farm, which
Yeah.
has rides and festivals and like dance competitions, and they host a ton of stuff.
Hmm.
But this is a story from Connor Juice, spelled with a G. Um, And I'm going to preface this by saying the way that Sweet Connor writes is chaotic. So
Okay.
bear with me.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't think so, but it felt like okay, so he says, I work at Knott's Berry Farm over in California. It is a little theme park that has a lot of old Western buildings, many of which were real from old ghost towns, which I didn't know. He said they bought them and moved them to Knott's Berry Farm, which is actually
that's
like
cool.
very cool.
Yeah, I didn't know
and also why this place is super haunted, I would guess.
Yeah,
he says a lot of people think this causes most of the paranormal stuff that happens there, which apparently there's a lot of. I never believed in ghosts or anything. I just kind of found that stuff fun, shows, etc. But ever since working there, I've experienced so much shit. My first experience was on the very first day of Halloween Haunt, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a theme park. Not for you, Amy, I know you know, but for any listeners or maybe not from the United States, they do like takeovers of parks late at night when the park is usually like closing or closed. And the crew or the staff, either they or they hire actors to come in and like chase you around and scare you. So you can like go on the rides, but it's also like being in the middle of a zombie apocalypse or something like that. So that's what this is. So it was on the very first day of Halloween Haunt. I went to take out some trash. I feel like trash is a common theme here. Maybe just because you're always alone when you're taking out trash. Inherently kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But between two of the dumpsters, a space of about 6 inches, a literal hand came out at the ground level with extended fingers and then quickly pulled away. I called it out.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself originally, like, okay, like it's someone trying to scare you, like reaching out, but on the ground level, they would have had to lay on their belly and like reach for you on the ground, like behind the trash. I think not. No one's gonna go that.
Ew. Yeah.
Yeah. And from then, I kept on experience things. Our saloon is probably where I've had the most stuff happen. It usually gets crazy after 1 a.m. I used to like to go in there with a friend or two after we'd closed, but I'd heard footsteps. And what was weird was that I could hear the difference between heels or big boots. Like he would hear both.
Wow.
Another time I was under the indoor balcony where we just have some chairs and tables upstairs and heard a loud boom. I went up trying to figure out what made the noise. I even tried to recreate the noise. I picked up and dropped one of the solid wooden chairs, and that's what did it. But there was no one up there. Very weird. People say there are the spirits of twin children who like to mess with people. I got literally chased up the staircase, but by what sounded like a kid running on his hands and feet.
No.
You know, we used to do that when you were a kid. The sound of it on wood stairs would be so fucking scary. He says I nearly jumped to the top. I also saw the bright white face of a can girl with a big feathered hat walk across the stage once, which scared me because how could I recreate that in a way that's logical? Another time, me and a friend were in the saloon again, and I had brought some ghost hunting equipment, which didn't really help. We maybe got some spikes on the EMF detector, but I guess we overstayed our welcome because when I asked, do you want us to leave? Both the chandeliers started flickering.
Well,
we stayed, of course, because we were like, hell yeah, this is cool. Well, later I found out she caught a large black mass moving behind me on video, and they attached the photo. And
wow.
Yeah, it's weird. We finally ran out when a broom was thrown at us. So like they didn't see the black mass until after. So like I'm sure they would have hauled way before that if they'd seen it.
Yeah.
And speaking of throwing things, I've also seen a clipboard fly clear across the room with my own eyes with no one else in the room, which was insane. I've also been followed home, and I think I may have caught a ghost orb while filming a YouTube video for something else at home. There's a painting of a woman in red at our saloon that people say watches you. Someone told me she was looking at me and made a joke, and I made a joke about it. And after a few hours, I was grabbed on the shoulder, so I just turned around and skittishly said, sorry, but that's about all I can remember. Stuff like this happens a lot to me. maybe that's because I go looking for it. And then they included some of the photos. They said, well, I wish I could post video here. This was just 3 months ago. And they say you can see this shape move in a sort of liquid kind of way. What interests me most is that there should be no shadow there, and there's nothing casting a shadow there. So why is that thing? And also, shadows don't block out all light behind them. So it was like a figure, like a really dark figure. Anyway.
Ew. Scary. Yeah.
And then my last one is from Papa Fisher, and it's titled Something Followed Me from Lake Shawnee Amusement. So Lake Shawnee, I just did a little bit of background research, is a now defunct amusement park based in Princeton, West Virginia, located along, you guessed it, Lake Shawnee. It was opened in 1926. Old, and closed in 1988. It received quite a bit of public attention for urban legends regarding the park being haunted due to accidental deaths supposedly caused by quote unquote cursed land. So, history. The land on which the amusement park was built was the site of a massacre after landowner Mitchell Clay's children were murdered by Native Americans in 1785. 2 children, big trigger warning here. 2 children had been killed and scalped, while a third was captured and taken to Chillicothe and burned at the stake. So, like, really brutal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you built a park here? Like, why are these people building parks in horrific places?
Yeah.
I guess the land's, but what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, okay, here is Papa Fisher's story. A few years back during my junior year of high school, I was in a tourism class at my vocational school. It was a lot of fun, honestly, and me and my buddies got to go on trips while others were stuck in class. Love that for you. In mid-October of 2017, we went to Pipestem in Pipestem, West Virginia. And the first day was pretty standard as far as a trip can go. Me and the guys had our own cabin out in the woods, and the girls had the same accommodations. The next day, though, things got really weird. We were bored in our cabin the following night, so we decided to head to Lake Shawnee. It was an amusement park built on an Indian burial ground that operated back in the early 1900s. It was shut down in the late 60s, I believe. 80s, but close. After a child drowned in the lake. So there were other deaths, like just, this was one of the accidental deaths that the wiki page referred to. We waited till after dark because I wasn't sure when I read it in the wiki. I was like, is this like alleged deaths that are blamed on the cursed land, or is it actual deaths that are allegedly because of the cursed land? So it is real death. Okay, so we waited till after dark and then headed over there because it was only about a 10-minute drive. We're laughing the whole way over, just acting like dumb teenagers, and as soon as we pulled near the tree line, the park played just beyond. I don't know what, I think it means splayed, just beyond. Something felt off. All the joy felt suddenly sucked out of me, and I felt as though we were not welcome there. Park has 2 attractions, the Ferris wheel and the swings. So a lake park.
Big.
Basking in the full moon, the park looked hauntingly beautiful. At this point, we're still being shithead kids, and I decided it's a good idea to take a seat on one of those swings. We hang around for 20 more minutes, and just as we're about to leave, I feel a burning sensation on my lower back, like someone had pressed a hot iron against it. Ignoring it wasn't helping, as it just started intensifying this scorching pain. So I told my buddy to quickly pull out a flashlight and check out my back to see if I scraped it on a branch or there was rust maybe on one of the swings. Sure enough, 3 distinct claw marks ran the length of my lower back. It made all the hairs on my body stand up, and I felt like something was there, hovering over me like a dark cloud.
Wow.
We get back, very creepy. We get back to our cabin, and the scratches are nowhere to be seen. But I wasn't feeling any better. Yeah, so they appeared and then disappeared. I felt like I was a passenger in my own body, like I was operating in third person. There was something very malevolent. I could feel it, but I was tired beyond belief at this point. So I go to our room and crash on the bed. At about 3 a.m. that night, I got so scared I coughed. At about And that night, one of my buddies calls from the living room, his voice trembling. Me and my two other friends go in the room to check on him, and the front door was wide open. He looked gaunt, drenched in sweat, appearance as how I had felt only a couple hours earlier. He
Hmm.
explained that he was fast asleep on the couch when he felt a cool breeze across his face. Sitting up and saw he sat up and saw the seemingly endless wilderness outside our cabin with the door wide open. We were all shook pretty bad as well and had locked the front door, and all of us had stayed in our rooms for the entire night until we had
Hmm.
heard him calling. I didn't believe in any of this ghost shit before this happened, but I swear something followed me back from Lake Shawnee. Something evil,
Hmm.
perhaps even something ancient.
Yikes. Oh my god. That's a good one.
Yeah, I liked that one a lot. And I
Yeah.
liked that it was like one I'd never heard of, like Lake
Hmm.
Shawnee amusement park. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like amusement parks may be a stretch, but to each
I think it fits.
they,
Yeah.
they did their best in the 1920s to make a fun park. But yeah, creepy as shit.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's all my
would
story.
that happen to be in Appalachia? I can't remember
You
how
know what?
the
Let's
correct
look.
pronunciation according to your dad.
It is Appalachia. But you know what made me feel good is I'm listening to this. Oh, I meant to mention this at the beginning too, in tandem with the book updates,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm listening to this incredibly fun fictional paranormal podcast called The Magnus Archives. And I heard about it through, I think, Meredith, either Meredith or April from Rattled and Shook, which is another
Mm-hmm.
great paranormal podcast. And it is so, so, so fun. But what was I going to say? What was my connection to this? Oh, the
Appalachia.
the host of Magnus Archives calls
Mm-hmm.
it Appalachia, an
Okay.
Appalachian mountains. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I'm not crazy that I have heard.
No,
Sorry,
that's what I've
but
always said.
an effort.
Appalachia.
It is definitely Appalachia for
Okay.
sure, for sure, for sure.
Okay.
I zoomed out like like in less than an inch, and it's like Appalachian log structures.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
We know
And
all about that place.
I wonder, do you think that's why Appalachia is so haunted? Because there's so much like indigenous burial ground?
It's probably part
I
of
don't know.
it. It's like,
I wonder
haven't, didn't
if
we
it like
read
how
something about that?
indigenous. Oh, go ahead.
I was trying to remember if we've read something about that. Like, it's one of those places that has like the energy
Oh, yes, 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 like the
vortex or
vortex.
something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
But
I think you're right. I
maybe we
wonder.
should revisit.
Yeah, I'm always down to go back to Appalachian stories because that
Yeah.
shit's so creepy.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Oh my god, you guys, I'm a little jet lagged and really losing my focus here. I don't know. It's gone. It must have been a
Sorry.
lie.
I interrupted you.
No, not at all.
Is that what they
Oh,
say?
I remember. I remember. Well, my mom says that. I don't know. Must have been a lie. Um, but no, I wonder how indigenous communities feel about that. That like, because for one, like, don't disrespect someone's grave site. That's
Mm-hmm.
insane.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, that a lot of indigenous grave sites get kind of blamed, sort of,
Right.
for like horrible things that happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's like not a good thing. And at the same time,
Yeah.
don't disturb someone's grave. Just a
Yeah.
thought.
Right. It's a good
Just
point.
a just an unpopular opinion. Don't disturb graves. You know,
It's a
I would haunt the
hot
shit
tip.
out of someone if they disturbed my grave. Yeah, hot tip for all y'all.
Yeah. Where are
For all y'all
you?
grave robbers.
Oh, hang on.
I think this is a sign. We're having tech issues today, you guys. And I think
Yeah.
it is a sign that we are no longer welcome here.
Yeah, let's take it that
Um,
way.
yeah, exactly. Okay, you guys, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Girls Gone Spooky, also on Facebook as Girls Gone Spooky. You can email us your scary stories at girlsgonespooky@gmail.com. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts because it helps other people find us. And of course, word of mouth doesn't hurt either. Thank you for bearing through our slightly rusty, tech issue riddled first episode back, but we're very happy to be back for season 4. We have some really, really, really fun topics in the works. So until next week, stay
spooky. Bye.
Bye.